Hey everyone, Jason here, and we're giving a bit of a different style of video today. Not quite community update, not quite announcement. With the end of 2022 approaching, we're taking time to look back at what we've accomplished recently and what we can be doing to improve into the future. After all, the ability to change and adapt in an ever-changing games landscape is absolutely crucial. So here's a retrospective look followed by an update on what to expect from us in the near and not so near future. First off, let's talk about the Intrigue launch. The Kickstarter campaign was a pretty raging success under a lot of the metrics we were concerned with originally. The initial influx helped us get to number 2 in the KickTrack top 10 projects. New players picking up the game thanks to our influencer campaign helped bring in some new players, and the campaign raised well above our initial goal, reaching the eventual 5 out of 6 stretch goals. However, we can't simply take those successes and just try to do it again, as there were several shortcomings and failings that we also needed to learn from. First off, responsibility. As our biggest launch since the rebirth of the company, there was a lot of moving parts and things that needed to happen for the campaign to be a success, and a lot of these had to be compromised on, including an additional short cinematic, an audio drama that's still today in production, a bunch of other social stuff, we had a music video ready to go out, and all of these just didn't end up happening due to time constraints. With everything that was happening, I personally stepped up to shoulder a lot of the burden, as we're a pretty small team and everyone has a very full plate already. So if the Kickstarter campaign had extra needs and demands, I was the first to put up my hand for the things that needed doing, even if I wasn't very good at them. Eventually, I got overwhelmed and stuck in work that I was just really bad at, performing at a level that neither I, Lightmare, or the community was happy with, and it wasn't until recently that I was able to identify these shortcomings, and the team has started to work to support some of my weaknesses, and our next campaign will have a dedicated campaign manager, someone who can handle all the things related directly towards the Kickstarter, allowing the rest of us to focus on what we do specifically best, be it coding, design, community management, video editing, whatever. Another shortfall of the Kickstarter campaign was the physical rewards. If we were better prepared to begin with, we could potentially get people more excited by posters and shirts, but sadly we didn't have our proof of concepts physically ready to show off, so they weren't really something you could get excited for. And while a couple backers have been very adamantly excited by the idea of shirts and posters, or the artwork book for the highest backers, many were simply taking it because it came with the tier, and many more even opted to get digital rewards instead of the physical ones that they were owed. Plus, handling shipping and manufacturing is pretty annoying. So unless there's someone that we have specifically on board handling everything while having experience in physical goods distribution, manufacturing, networks, contacts, etc., there's a good chance that our next Kickstarter will simply have physical goods as add-ons that you can purchase. This means our Kickstarter will almost be acting like a pop-up merch store that only runs a few times a year. We're still looking at things like more exclusivity and personalization with these goods, so feel free to join the conversation on Discord if you have any questions, input, or opinions that you want to share. Next, the action we saw with the Twitch streamer campaign was pretty awesome, but it was also pretty expensive, as you can imagine, and the game was lacking in tutorials and polish, so it didn't end up having a worthwhile return for us, sadly. We will be doing more marketing pushes like this in the future, but for now we're going to keep it small and go with creators that have an interest in the game until Infinity Wars Classic is ready for the mass market and the new players that it would inevitably bring in. Finally, let's talk about the Post-Kickstarter. Backer Kit was a service we'd heard pretty little about, but the little that we heard was all positive, so we jumped at the chance to continue our fundraising efforts. And yes, the Backer Kit campaign did actually bring in a few $1,000s extra in additional pledges, but working with 2 different campaign management processes and services was a bit of a time-heavy undertaking for us as a team who hadn't used Backer Kit. So unless our campaign manager has copious amounts of experience with Backer Kit, we're probably going to simplify. Run the campaign, run it hard down mid, send it, book it, we're done. We will give further updates on this sort of thing when we have things set in stone. You can expect the Kickstarter for our next set to be announced soon, as the set itself is in the final stages of design with all of the artwork and animations already completed and ready to go. But we're making sure that we handle specifically the physical goods from the previous campaign and the Patreon rewards, which had their first send out last week, with messages going out to all Patreon users past and present who haven't had their rewards yet. The announcement of the next set and campaign was originally supposed to have happened by now, but we've had to make some adjustments. Don't worry though, you will be seeing an announcement soon. Next up, let's talk about the competitive side of things. We'd always had intentions to get a competitive side of Infinity Wars up and running because the game itself has extreme competitive depth and potential, and we were introduced to a tournament organizer with years of experience who was looking to support Infinity Wars becoming competitive. It was fantastic having someone to rely on while we're dealing with the inevitable crunch surrounding a massive launch, and the broadcast managed to make a pretty professional feeling esports event, even if it was a little rough around the edges. It was super encouraging. We did unfortunately have some problems though. The first two are much more fixable than the third, so let's start with those. Firstly, the rule set. These were thrown together by the new event coordinator, and due to being away and sick, I couldn't offer the support and guidance necessary to get a really comprehensive rule set, and in an oversight, the community wasn't adequately consulted for input on the rule set and tournament structure, leading to an event that many high-level players just felt was different. Not better, not worse, just different. And if we are sacrificing familiarity, we'd want there to be a net positive. So, the next large tournament we do, we'd want to have members of the community collaborating with us to make the rule set much more comprehensive, easier to work with, communicate and understand. And hopefully, the hands-on experience running an event for Infinity Wars Classic has been a positive learning experience for our tournament organizer, as with the issues potentially being fixed, I'd personally love to see them return. The second problem was scheduling and communication. We had multiple events within a very short period of time of one another, which ended up causing a bit of confusion. The intention was to have events spread out so that people could plan around to get to at least one, but having a single commitment that ruled out both events due to scheduling was a bit of a misfire for us. We'll be making sure that if we do run multiple day events like this in the future, we'll need to get some more space between the events and work on our communication and clarity for the events, including how we handle time zones. The final problem is a simple one, but will unfortunately require a lot more time, and that's simply the state of the game. We can be proud of the coding team piecing together an extremely stable build of the game for the finals, resulting in 0 game desyncs and crashes for the top 8. But we're having a problem outside of that, being the game's current alpha status. With changes creating new bugs and game-breaking problems almost every patch, it would be awfully stressful raising the stakes to a point that we're expecting a completely stable, bug-free experience for a tournament every month or 3, while the core game itself is still being actively developed and worked on. So, we'll have to be putting our focus on the competitive gameplay on hold until it's a more logical, feasible focus to have. We still are absolutely committed to the idea of IWC being a competitive game in the future, but short term we need to work on making IWC being a more functional and feature-inclusive game. This means getting tutorials working to a basic level, as well as the foundations for a draft game mode, single-player expansion content, and the other competitive tools we'd be after, such as in-game tournament play and spectator modes. We'll try and host some smaller tournaments and events with card packs and cosmetics on the line to keep things feeling a little bit competitive and fun in the meantime, but you probably won't see a big thing from us until the game is ready for a big thing. Even with everything we've covered and, the overall slightly negative feel of this video, being realistic, 2022 has been an epic year. Together, we've moved the needle towards death to pay to win and brought a new incredible card set to life. IWC is going from strength to strength thanks to your passion, skill, and generosity. We just need to give a quick, genuine thank you to everybody who has supported us to get to this point. Whether you're a part of the Patreon campaign, backed us on Kickstarter, or just played the game a bunch since its return, your support and encouragement is one of the biggest reasons we are where we are today. So let's get excited for a hopefully just as amazing 2023. If you made it this far, you're probably already subscribed, so I won't bother asking you to do that, but feel free to check the 2 videos out on screen that you see right now and send them to a friend. That sort of word of mouth is invaluable, and we really appreciate that. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video, Riftrunner.